Hello guys, my name is Rizky from acreativealt, and in this video I'm going to talk about the brand new light that I just recently purchased. Is the Nunlight Forza 60. And this is not going to be a review, but simply just my first impression of the light. I haven't used the light much just yet. I don't feel qualified to do a review on it just yet. You know, like whenever you buy new gear, it's always be the honeymoon period whereby the gear is always feels so nice. I probably keep the full review for another video, but I just want to share my first impression on the light and why I decided to buy it and why this is something that probably you can consider. I have an upcoming shoot whereby I actually need to shoot inside a pretty small space, and I know pretty well that my usual light dome that I always bring may not be the best option in this case. And of course, I don't want to use the small light panels that many people actually use because I don't think they are soft enough, especially when you're talking about interview style kind of video. Recently, I saw some reviews on the Nunlight. Seems like this may be a good option for me. Also, the fact that it can actually be a handheld types of a light. And when the event industry finally comes back full swing next time, I probably can use this for a roving interview types of situation. I had two concerns with these types of light. The first thing is of course the fact that whether the light is actually bright enough to be a key light. I always use 100 watts light for my key light, so the lights that I actually use for this particular video. My second concern is that with this kind of a portable device, I always worried that it may overheat pretty fast. I also purchased the 16-inch diffuser. So I actually used the light for a recent food photo shoot. I always prefer to use continuous light instead of flash whenever I do food photography, because the fact that the food stylist can actually look at the screen right away and see exactly how the pictures will turn out. It was a pretty long session whereby it actually took me about 6 hours for the photo shoot. So it means to say that the Nunlight Forza 60 was actually being turned on for 6 hours. And typically, whenever I do this kind of shoot, every 4 hours, I will actually shut down and give the light a bit of rest. But in this case, I actually want to see whether the light actually overheats or not. So I actually on the Nunlight Forza 60 for the entire 6 hours session. I don't see the device to be overheated. I'm quite confident that I can actually use this for a full day kind of shoot. The fact that the light is actually tiny and light will be really useful because the projects that I'll be working on requires us to actually travel to multiple different places in a day. So if I bring the big lights like the Kino Flow whatsoever, it will be actually too troublesome to set up, and every time we have to tear down, it will take us a lot of time. So I always think that we have to minimize the numbers of times required for our setup as much as possible, especially with the types of projects that we do, and of course the types of budgets that normally we are given at, and the types of budget that we are normally given. The diffuser comes with this quick skeleton setup type of setup. I have never seen this method on other diffuser before. I've been using many of the Bowen's mount, and I don't actually see this in any of the Bowen's mount types of diffusers before. This is actually probably the first time in the longest time where I actually needed to read a manual to actually set up this diffuser. Still not my favorite diffuser. I actually prefer the umbrella type of a diffusers whereby you just need to push it like an umbrella and it actually opens up and you just need to mount it on your lights. With this, you have to manually pull the skeleton up one by one, but this is still much better compared to the old classic types of diffusers whereby you have to insert the skeleton one by one. And I used to really hate them because the fact that I tend to lose one or two of the skeletons. Then I realized that I have unusable diffusers because of that. Of course, I do wish that Nunlight to actually use the umbrella type in the future. I think Nunlight is pretty smart whereby it actually comes with their own diffuser, and they start to sell different extension of the light, so you can actually mount different things. You can even buy the Bowen's mount extension. If you have many Bowen's mount diffusers like I do, you probably can consider that. But I'm pretty curious on how all the Nun mount actually works, so I actually purchased the original diffuser by Nunlight. I'm going to replace my key light with the new Nunlight and see whether it's actually good enough to replace my current key light. So now the Forza 60 becomes my main key light. I was pretty surprised on how bright this light is. This is actually only about 50% of power. So I do believe in most cases when you're actually doing indoor types of shoots, anything that is inside a controlled environment, I do believe this is actually good enough for a key light. And I also think that this is probably an ideal light that you can actually get if you're actually setting up an affordable YouTube studio. So now you can see the size comparison between the Forza 60 and my Godox SL60 types of light that is actually being rehoused by a local company in Singapore. And this is actually the affordable lights that I've been using for years, something that I actually brought multiple times on my video productions, especially when we are doing corporate videos and interview videos for events. Still need a bit of time to actually do an A&D test with the Forza 60, but so far throughout this short experience with this, I'm pretty satisfied with it, and I'm actually hoping that I can actually change all our light gears to this because the fact that it's actually smaller. So with that, thanks so much for watching, and I see you next time.